Spider's back, like he said he was going to be back, and it's not totally back to back. It's 3 o'clock exactly, Halifax time in Nova Scotia, Canada. Okay, so Wednesday, I think it's September 19th, I believe, or the 20th. 20th it is. Time is flying. One more day of summer, forget it. We lost it with the hurricane and the horrible rain we had. The piles of rain just exploded this year, and then the wildfires that were set by humans, not by Trudeau's climate change scam lies. Anyway, don't want to talk about it because I'll get on a rant and I'll get upset. I'll upset myself. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I'm here to talk about CFL. I'm here to conclude when I finished off last session, okay, on when I was talking about St. Mary's possibility to do something there for CFL 10th franchise in Halifax and the way it could be done, and I didn't have enough time to really elaborate on that, which I will in a second. There's some things that came up, were said by Halifax councillors too, I want to cover, and by Derek Martin I didn't cover last time, so I'm going to get into that. Before I do that, and pretty pertinent stuff too to take note of, okay? Before I do that, I want to talk a little more about St. Mary's possibility there for CFL type stadium would be used, I guess, for football, of course, of soccer and so forth. But the track, 7-lane, 6-7-lane / track and field track at St. Mary's is the big question mark, whether or not they would give that up. And like I said, you know, there should be an 8-lane track built in Halifax somewheres, and the province could get involved. Kim Houston, where he went to St. Mary's, and the city needs it, the high school and universities need it. A regulation 8-lane track and field track, okay, that they don't have in the city. I think that Sackville they may at the high school, but for universities, they're right in the city, and high schools they use, I don't believe there's one. I'm almost certain there's not. Anyway, so let's get back to what possibly could be done at St. Mary's, and I'm going to go down there for a walk. I'm going to walk in there and see if I can get a hold of the head guy that covers, you know, what they call I think he's one of the head guys involved with all the buildings there, engineer, so forth. I think he is, and like what they call, I don't know his official title, but anyway. He knows what's going on there because I talked to him before. He knew exactly, and he said they were going to tear it down. He was right, and he'll know more. He'll know more, and I'm going to talk to him because he knows a friend of mine, Tony, who works at St. Mary's too. So from hockey, when my son played hockey, AAA hockey with Sidney Crosby and so forth. But anyway, St. Mary's. Let's just think what the possibilities there. So the footprint, what I see there, is an opportunity. What's left after they tore down the stands from Touchdown Atlantic, the stands that were used for Touchdown Atlantic, July 29th in the summer of this year, 2023, where they put up 10,500 seats, 75 on that side, and about another 1,000. So 85, probably 85 seats they put in. And then there was about another 2,000 on the other side with alumni, patios and so forth, the seating there, and about 1,000 other seating. And then with the patio, stand-up party zone. So they had 11,500 in there. So, but on that side, the problem on the side of the main side, where they could do something, where there's a footprint still there, where the 7,500 seats makeshift stadium for Touchdown Atlantic was at St. Mary's. There's an issue with the cafeteria that came out, okay, like I showed you in some photos I had, where they built an exchange building off the cafeteria. That's why at the 35-yard line they had to go from 40 rows, which they had for Touchdown Atlantic St. Mary's, to 30. So that's quite a bit, you know, 35 down and halfway in the end zone. 30. So they lost, I calculated they lost anywhere between, for sure, 1,000 seats, but possibly they could have put another 1,500 in there. But I think before they did this, when they were going to have a Touchdown Atlantic there, that was canceled, and then the next year it went to Wolfville, or that year it was canceled, it went to Wolfville. I think there was 8,000 on that side. Without that exchange building, that's almost completed now off the cafeteria. So, but still, there's a potential over there for 9,000 seats without that exchange building off the cafeteria. So they could possibly put 8, and they could wrap it around in the end zone, okay, a bit on the corner, and get 85 over there. Now on the building side, here's, of course, the track would have to be used on the main side for them to do that. The track would have to go. And my son was track athlete of the year at St. Mary's and broke a record. St. Mary's ran the 100 at 19 years old, without steroids, by the way, at 10.8 seconds. I was there. And they don't have many track meets at St. Mary's, but that was a big one. And my son was spectacular. Of course, everybody's proud of their kid, right? I was quite proud. Debbie Brown, the Olympic coach, that ran the Olympics, was his coach. She was blown away. But anyway, it's a memory. It's a good memory. But I asked my son about the track. You know, what does he think? With the track, would they give up the track? He says, money talks, Dad. So let's just talk about that. If there's a possibility there for some sort of CFL, multi-purpose / CFL type model stadium, modest, okay? They call pop-up, be more in pop-up, because you can't have benches, Brandy and Brosy. You meant something about that, about metal benches. You can't have that. It's not even sturdy enough. And it no one's going to sit on benches, okay, and pay that kind of money. You kidding me? You have to have bucket seats. Even Derek Martin, his little Mickey Mouse, little modular 6'5", little 8,500 seat stadium has a roof, and they have bucket seats. You have to have bucket seats. You can't be a player. You have to have bucket seats. So anyway, okay, I'm going to go back to the main side and what could be done there first, because I forgot to mention. Okay, from the 35-yard line, and I mentioned this early in my early session, but I didn't give it, I didn't go over it in detail. 35-yard line, okay, down to the end zone when the Goresbrook bar is, where the clock is. There's a potential from 35 yards down into the end zone, which they did for 40 rows, which they did, but you could put another 20 rows on top of that with up a deck, because you could go to 60 rolls there, and it would be a like a hanger, like what they call a hanger that comes out over, okay? So basically it would be, so here would be your, like they have the 40 rows, okay, and it would have to go in a different angle, because they brought that back like to be close to the field, and they were still using most of the track. There was a couple lanes there, but you have to go up more on an angle like that, and then you have to have a hanger that comes out over half of those 40 rows, okay, for 20 or for minimum 20 rows. You could even go to 25 there. But anyway, so if they did that and used the 30 and had a concourse on top of that 30 from the 35 going down to the bigger end zone and connected to a concourse in between the lower bowl and the upper bowl, and okay, and connecting with the concourse in there, because you'd have to have a concourse because you have to have permanent washrooms and concessions and stands where you could sell merchandise and so forth, and open concourse too. Be quite spectacular. You could actually put a roof, and if they went 20 rows, you could probably put skyboxes on the top too. There's enough room there. It would be high, but you could do it. Or you could go 30 and 30. You know, lower bowl 30 and 30 on the top with skyboxes, okay, on the top with a roof hanging over, okay. You could do that. That would be quite spectacular. You probably, if you could go from where it goes from the 35 to 30 rows, like was for Touchdown Atlantic at St. Mary's, and you went in the corner with it, and then used the rest of it for party zone, and you could put probably 2,000 in there for party zone. And then where it would be like open concourse with two upper and an upper bowl, okay? It could go down, wrap around the corner and the Goresbrook end zone too, and then you could also put 30 rows of seating there, permanent grandstands there, and you have to use the track again, and to give you more capacity. So just on that footprint alone, they could easily put 9,000 seats over there, okay? So then I really believe that could be done. It could put 10,000. They had a plan years ago for 10 in each side, but now you got that exchange off the cafeteria, but you have to work around that. That's why you need a double decker, like a upper and lower bowl with the roof coming over with skyboxes. You know, you need a good engineer and architect, but it can be done. Okay, you're talking money, of course, and I'm going to get into that at the end. So on the other side, let's talk about where the buildings are. The equipment, there's an old equipment building attached to where the alumni lounge comes out on the patio, and they can walk out on the top of the equipment building. That will have to be demolished and taken down because that's in the way. No problem, because in the far end zone, there's all kinds of room for dressing rooms to be built, new dressing rooms. They have dressing rooms. They have a real nice dressing room at the rink that they use for football, and they have another one for the St. Mary's Huskies football team. They come out in that end zone. But they could build offices, and they could build new dressing rooms there. They have lots of room there. And there's lots of room. If you ever had a Grey Cup game at St. Mary's, you could put, in that party zone, you could put easy 6 to 7 and really go up high to even 8,000 seats there. I'd say more like 6 to 7, but you could have a minimum of 6 or 7. No problem. And the other side, on the Gorsbrook side end zone, you could go up, you could get 4,000 there. So there's 11,000 right there in end zones, a minimum of 10,000 in the end zones. Okay, if temporary stadium was built there, stands was built for a Grey Cup game, host a great first ever in Atlantic Canada, because you have to consider that. So let's talk about what can happen on the other side where the buildings are. And I think in Montreal, when the Alouettes played McGill, there's a similar footprint there where they had buildings too. But again, you use the track. They have an antenna sort of transmitter type tower there that probably would have to be removed and relocated, okay, at St. Mary's at their football site, probably the far end zone in the corner. That it wouldn't interfere with any ability to put extra stands there, okay, temporary stands. But anyway, so the equipment room gone, that tower gone. Now you have a footprint where you have from the 7-lane or 6-lane track that you can go up over the buildings where the alumni comes out in the patio. That could be a concourse, so you could go like 20 rows and then 20 rows. I think in Montreal the other one side's like 42 rows straight up, no concourse. The skyboxes on top, and then at McGill, and then on the other side, I think it's about 20 rows and another 20 rows, and they have a concourse. It's like 40. It could be 42, about the same. Could be, but I think it's 40. It's a little less. That could be easily done over at St. Mary's, and you probably wouldn't be able to put a roof on it, but a good architect and engineer, you probably could put a roof over it too. And you could incorporate the alumni lounge there that's inside St. Mary's on those buildings, incorporate it with the open concourse, and you'd have a lower and upper bowl as well, and you have washrooms and concessions on that concourse. Now, it probably would be smaller than the one on the other main side, but it would probably be pretty good. Now, you talk about entrances, okay? How do you get into both sides of the stadium? Well, on the main side, it's really easy, because in the back, you can come in. Lots of room, okay? And all around the stands, you can come in from both sides, and the back as well of the grandstands, you can come in. Now, where the buildings are, you can only come in at both ends, and a lot of stadiums are like that too. And so you could actually have an escalator in time, but they'll probably have to walk up to the concourse, then you walk up from the concourse up to the upper bowl, and then walk down to the lower bowl, similar to the Metro Center, something like that. But I'm telling you, it can be done, and you could easily put 20,000 permanent seats in there without the end zones, and you probably could put easily 24,000, and I really believe you could go to 30 for a Grey Cup game, despite the concourse, the exchange building off the cafeteria, because that's where a good architect and engineer comes in. You have to work around that, and then you have to utilize all your space, and that the key component is the track. but there have to be a plan for the track and field program. I don't believe Dow, I'm almost certain they don't have a track, okay? I think I mentioned that last session. I don't know if I did or not, but I'm mentioning it now. But I asked my son about that. He says they don't. So there's a need for one. So that's not a problem. That could be, that they could find a location to build one. The city needs one, and the universities need one, the high schools need it. Okay, they all can use it. So there's what could happen. So I want to talk about what's going on with the city councilors and Mayor Savage. Okay, Mayor Savage, he hasn't been questioned why he had a meeting with Randy Ambrosi on the radio. No one's even talking about it. It's a big cover-up. The councilor's not talking about it. They're all in bed with Derek Martin, okay, with his little Mickey Mouse, like 6'5", prefabricated, like in sections. They bring it in. It's modular. It's a wooden frame. The concessions will be underneath. They would be pretty piss poor, and so would the washrooms. They'd be pretty piss poor. St. Mary's could be way better done. Way better done. They could build a much better, unless you reconfigure, and the lawn bowling going, which probably would never go, but Commons would be a good spot at the Wanderers to put it in the Commons, and the horses, the Lancers, and their buildings, they're never going to go. It's never going to happen. So, but Derek Martin did say in a clipping a while back that you could put 20,000 seats. They have a model of 6'5" that you can actually have 20,000 seats, 40 rows. And you can have 20,000 seats put in the Wanderers, but I believe you can. And he actually said, so he confirmed it, with the 6'5" model they have one. But he doesn't want it there. He doesn't want no competition. So he made some really ignorant remarks. I'm talking about some of the ignorant remarks that the councilors made. So they're all in bed with him. It's all political. And now all of a sudden Mayor Savage has disappeared about the concept of the CFL could play out of the Wanderers grounds. He says, you know, if they 15 or 20,000, so he knows they can put 20,000 in there. But now he's silent. He took off, right? You know why? Because he really, it's all like he's trying to talk on both sides of his face. You can't trust him. And Derek Martin doesn't want the CFL. It's obvious he doesn't want the CFL at the Wanderers grounds because he doesn't want competition, right? But yet, what's crazy about that, and it's unbelievable, this guy, is that he wants his pitch that we paid for, his grass pitch, taken out and put an artificial turf in. Imagine. And he mentioned during his presentation that his two sons play for Citadel High, which is a football team, one of the top football teams in Metro here in Halifax. They have no place to play. And he says they could play, and he actually showed a picture in his renderings of high school football being played in his artificial turf, little Mickey Mouse, 8,500 seat CPL stadium. And it's only like on the Bell side, 20 rows, and then in the corner with the kitchen in less than 20 rows. That's all it is. There's nothing on the Sackville side or the Summer in the end zone in the Summer Street side, but his little container pair nostalgia suites, right? That he wants, he thinks he wants him there, so there's no way anything else bigger could be built there because he doesn't want it. $40 million, okay? 20 million is for the little Mickey Mouse 6'5" little modular prefabricated CPL design style little soccer stadium that he wants. And it's all for him. It's unbelievable. And then he has the gall to go on TV and say that the CFL could use, he did this, Derek Martin, the CFL could use his little Mickey Mouse little 8,500 little CPL, definitely, it's the CPL little tiny little thing, stadium, but he's putting back seats in, whoopie-doo. It's an embarrassment. It's a third the size of what we need in the stadium. We need 24,000 permanent seats with all the amenities. But Derek Martin just wants it for himself and for his sons to play football on because he says they have no place to play. So he actually literally shows a picture in his renderings that he hid on his main site. He took it down, but someone put it up on where the site where it's something about Halifax, I think Wanderers ground site. It's an independent, and they actually picked it off, and it's still up there. And it's a picture of Halifax high school team playing football on the new Wanderers grounds in Little Mickey Mouse 8,500 seat CPL, totally designed stadium for CPL Halifax Wanderers soccer team only. But yeah, there's a picture of Citadel High. Basically, I think they even use the same colors playing football on the artificial turf, but he doesn't want the CFL to play football on, and he doesn't want to have it built bigger. That Mayor Savage mentioned that it'd be good that the CFL played out of too, it'd be multi-purpose. No, Derek Martin wants it all for himself. He doesn't want any competition. But the problem with that, even with the 6.5 model of 20,000, which they can put there, because even a minute, Derek Martin, in a clipping, in a video, even a minute, like a year and a half ago, I saw the clipping, I saw the videotape. He says we could even put a 20,000, they have a model, and they do. 6.5 do have the 20,000 seat model. 40 rows it goes up. Goes all the way around. Now, probably in one where they need more, and where the Summer Street side is, where the scoreboard is, they need more for CFL for the end zone. So you could have a retractable stands that go in and out, but like in Toronto, BMO film they use for the Argonauts and Toronto FC, but they wouldn't do that. So basically, you couldn't put stands there, but you could put 20,000 seats in there if you use both sides. Now the Sackville Street side doesn't have the room as the main side, but you could put a double-decker over there because it's like a 3-lane road going there. You don't need that or more. There's like 30 yards or more, 35 yards there. But you don't need that for road in and out. And you could do a hanger over top too. So you could go like 30 and 30 with a hanger, go right down to the kitchen. Now the lawn bowling would be good to move over the commons because you'd have more room to put more stands in. You could go up higher, which I think that would be doable, but the horses aren't going. But anyway, and the Sackville side, the Wanderers grounds, you could probably put 25 rows there all the way down to the end zones. You could even round it too. You could put 20,000 seats in there, but you could never, it would never be doable like to put temporary stands in there to expand it beyond 20,000 to go to 30 for a Grey Cup game. So no CFL team would really entertain the Wanderers grounds. I don't believe. Even Mayor Savage had a meeting with Randy Ambrosi, and you know, I think they can do better at St. Mary's, and they have a cafeteria and they have a gym there, and the football's already there, and St. Mary's could benefit a lot more. They own the land too. I think Premier Houston could get involved. I think what Mayor Savage maybe was trying to do was to get. He was with Fillmore. You know, he's a federal MLA for Trudeau, Liberal, and he could maybe put some money into the pot too, and he get Houston involved. Board too, they get to spend about $80 million and put 22,000 seats in the Wanderers grounds. But like I said, the Lancers and their horse buildings, they're not going anywhere. But that would be it, max. That would be maxed out, utilizing every square foot. But they can never ever stage a Grey Cup game there because you need 30,000 seats. Like in Hamilton, they have the perfect model. But I'll tell you right now, $110 million being wasted on the Halifax Forum. That's decrepit and falling down and a dump. That's how political. But the city councillors are half on board, half not on board with Derek Martin's proposal for his little Mickey Mouse CPL 8,500 seat stadium, because they're using the homeless twist again. They're all a bunch of druggies, majority of them, but they're using that. But they don't use the homeless, spin the homeless thing on the $110 million. Can you imagine that? For the old decrepit Halifax Forum that should be torn down. They don't use that. They don't say a word about it. But for Derek Martin they do. Yeah, they do politically. They only get 2 or 3% of the vote, and they cater to their base. They get re-elected. That's why they'll never want a CFL team here. And they're hypocrites, because $110 million should be going towards, and Goresbrook, okay, with the junior highs there across the St. Mary's, an engineer said that would be the ideal spot to build a CFL model stadium. And if you had that $110 million that should be going towards a CFL stadium, because what capital city wouldn't want to win a CFL team and a Grey Cup in their city and then their province, and what premier wouldn't, and what mayor wouldn't? Oh, only Mayor Savage and only his radical leftist liberals and his radical leftist councillors. Okay, only them. They just play whatever card they can play, okay? And they're using Derek Martin, actually, to get re-elected, okay? Because they think that there's enough soccer fan people that will vote for him, they get them re-elected. That's what this all, it's all political. And Derek Martin will get his wish, okay? But they're Mickey Mouse. This is not 50,000 a population of 50,000 people in Halifax. It's going to be 500,000 in no time. It's 485,000 now and growing. It's going to be that in a year and a half, 500,000. Okay, and like within a say like an hour and a half radius. Okay, so yeah, what are you talking? Like 100 around 100 kilometers. You're in around this, or say 200 kilometers. You're well over 1 million people here. Okay, and the numbers have been proven, by the way, and there's been a survey and it's been done that a CFL franchise would work here, but no, the councillors don't think it will. And one of the councillors last night on TV and Global said, oh, Derek Martin's CPL team is a proven entity. Basically he said, well, the other, meaning the CFL, is not. What do you mean? We had 2 test markets, and I want to talk about that. At Wolfville and St. Mary's, very successful, sold out both of them the last 2 years here, regular season game. And Derek Martin really pissed me off, okay, when he was on 2 Global and said, oh, the 8,500 is little Mickey Mouse, little CPL soccer state. He said maybe the CFL could use this as a test market, see if it would be viable for a CFL team, and it could be expandable to 13,000. What an insult! 13,000? Are you kidding me? 13,000? You need a minimum of 20 to 22,000 permit seats, you clown. It's all about you, Derek Martin. And you know what? I hope you get shut down by the Friends of the Commons. I really do. And Mir Savage and Wayne Mason, that clown, okay, that's behind it, wouldn't give a penny for a CFL type stadium in St. Mary's. No, you're in bed. You're in bed with, that's your district, with Derek Martin, okay? You know what? This is going to backfire on them. And you know what? My wish is that the CFL, they get an owner, get Kim Houston, who went to St. Mary's, and they find a way to do it. And the price tag could be around $75 million for St. Mary's to do it right. Okay, let's hope they can do it, or even 65. I mean, maybe they can add on, but let's hope it happens at St. Mary's. Let's just hope the news comes out to bury these clowns, Mir Savage and his radical leftist counselors, just like himself. I hope they get buried. I hope the CFL buries them and the CPL, Martin's CPL team. I hope so. They deserve it. They deserve to be buried.